not of the rabbi's recommendation. However, we see that the Torah gives big emphasis that our mother Sarah was a beautiful woman. Why it's so crucial? Why it's so important to tell me that? Question number one. Question number two. After Sarah died, Sarah said, the Torah said that Avraham Avinu came to do hesped Sarah, lispod le-Sarah. Lispod means to eulogize Sarah, to make a big eulogy for her, because when somebody died, you make a eulogy. After that, the Torah said that Avraham Avinu realized he has no grave where to bury her. So Avraham went over to Ephron. He said, Ephron, he went to the residence of Chet. He said, I want to get a grave for my wife. So it seems that the first thing he did, he gave a eulogy, gave a sped for her. The second thing he did, he bought a grave. Usually, you shouldn't know, but it's supposed to be the opposite. Of course, you needed to have a grave where to. And then you do eulogy before burial. To do eulogy before the grave, the burial, that seems to be very odd. We cannot suspect Avraham Avinu that he didn't love his wife and he just wanted, maybe make sure it's over. As we know, there was a guy that his mother-in-law was buried. So during the burial of his mother-in-law, he distracted everybody. Look what's going on over there. And he flipped her, when a person being buried is face up, he flipped her upside down. So nobody realized. So then was one person who, after the burial, he came up and said, what did you do? Why did you flip her upside down? He said, let me tell you something. My mother-in-law, I'm sorry to say, but I went so much through difficult this time with her, and she gave me really a rough time. I said, okay. I said, you have to understand that the Mashiach is going to come, all of the dead bodies are going to go out of the grave and get out. I don't want to take a chance she's going to come out again. I flipped her upside down, she's going to go down, so I can confirm she's not coming back. So, sometimes people need to confirm that, it's over. But Avraham Avinu didn't need to confirm. So how come Avraham Avinu first he did hesped, the eulogy, and then he looking for a grave? Very interesting to see, and this is our focus. When he was asking for a grave, he used to live in Hebron. The government at Hebron called Chet, Bnei Chet, the resident of Chet, they were the governors of the city of Hebron. So he went over to them, he said, guys, I need a grave for my wife. Give me a grave. Why? Because every resident deserves to be buried. He doesn't deserve, on the side note, to be cremated. Because we burn treasures. We bury treasures and we burn garbage. So therefore, Jews don't burn. We treat ourselves as treasures. So Jews are going to be buried, and Jews cannot be burned because only garbage we burn. So every human in any healthy society deserved a grave where to be buried. So he came over and says, my wife passed away, I need a grave. They told him, look, you are considered as a king for us. We treat you so nicely. So not only we're going to give you a grave, pick and choose. Any grave, any place you want to bury your wife, we're going to give you that spot. He said, okay, perfect. Now I have a choice. I tell you what I want. I want Me'arat HaMachpelah. The special Me'arat HaMachpelah, there is an owner to the Me'arat HaMachpelah. His name was Ephron. Ephron seems to be, was a real estate guy. He owns the Me'arat HaMachpelah and the field next to the Me'ara. So he said, I want Me'arat HaMachpelah. Said, Ephron said to him, no problem. I'll give you Me'arat HaMachpelah. That will be your grave. But remember, no, not yet. Remember, how do you access the grave?
Through the field.
Yeah, there is a field. What do we owe you? We owe you a grave. Do we owe you a field? No. So that means, in our terminology, Avraham Avinu is getting an easement through the field of Ephron in order to get access to Me'arat HaMachpelah, to the grave. So therefore Ephron said, by the way, I'm giving you the grave, Me'arat HaMachpelah, and I'm giving you also the field, but as a partnership. We live together in the field. You use the field, I use the field, it's all good. So Avraham Avinu said, look, I'm sorry, but I want to buy the field. I don't want you to give me gifts. Let me buy the field from you. Said Ephron to Avraham, Avraham, we love each other so much. We are such a good friends. You want to buy it? 400. That's the price, and we'll make a deal. You know what's the ratio of the price compared to the market? The stipler said he paid 80 times more than the actual value. This is the biggest Jewish friar we ever met in our life. This is an example for Am Israel. You pay 80 times more for a real estate? That's against any principle of Judaism. You gotta pay half price of it. Who pays 80 times more? What's going on over here? This is our father, Avraham Avinu. What's the example you're giving us? And nobody follows such an example today. We all buy, Jews buy, Israeli kosher came. You try to get the best out of your body. How come Avraham Avinu pays 80 times more for a real estate? The Torah said that not only paid 400, when it came time to pay, Avraham came and gave him 400 kesef, shekel kesef. So when he came with the shekel kesef to pay, and he says, no, I want to take the highest currency. There were a few types of currency at the time. So Avraham Avinu wanted to get paid from the highest currency. The question is to Ephron, you charge him 80 times more. Now you're asking for the highest currency? Tagid toda. Say thank you, you got what you asked for. He made the transaction to be difficult. If I overcharge somebody and he's willing to pay the price, I make the quick transaction. Ephron, Yalla, let him pay and go home. Ephron act the opposite of regular business behavior. Instead of making the transaction quick, smooth, and easy, he makes it difficult. Ephron, what's wrong with you? Now, he brings a statement right before it, a very interesting statement. He said, by the way, Avraham, Beni ubenecha mahi. Between you and I, we are such a good friends, don't worry. So the real question is, we're not talking about stupid people, correct? If he claimed to be best friend with Avraham, how can he charge him 80 times more? Now, he knows him only for how long? For one day. How can he claim to be the best friend of Avraham Avinu? If you know somebody for one day, you're not his best friend.
You're not even his friend.
You're not his friend. You're charging him off. You're overcharging him. What's going on? Last piece, the Torah said, when Avraham eventually bought the field and he received the grave he had the right to receive as the leader of the world. He was the king of the world. So Avraham has the right to receive the field as a resident. He deserved it. The grave. But the Torah says that the field was registered in the zoning as part of the cemetery. The Torah said the field and the grave was a cemetery. Why Avraham Avinu changed the zoning? By the way, today, zoning for cemetery is one of the highest zoning. You can't get it today. It's very expensive to die, so keep yourself alive, because it's hard to get zoning for cemetery. But at the time, if you make a cemetery, you cannot live there. Why would Avraham turn the field into a cemetery when really the field it's an accessory use? Today we have the field.
He sold it for 800 more.
Apparently he didn't.
Bosses.
We're still the owners. He should have. We're still the owners. So why is the field where we enter to the cemetery being registered as a cemetery when it wasn't a cemetery? So you need to understand, we need to go a little bit backwards to understand who were Avraham and Sarah. It says, there is a city, it's called Be'er Sheva. Be'er Sheva we call it today. The Torah called the city Be'er Sheva. What is city Be'er Sheva coming from? Avraham Avinu. What? Excellent. Avraham Avinu had a battle with Elimelech. He was doing a Be'er, a well, in the area of Elimelech. And in Gra, that was the city of the country of Elimelech. And he said to him, Elimelech said, you have no right to do a well in the middle of our country. And Abraham said, why not? Let me do a well, I need water. The Torah concludes the story that Abimelech came to Abraham and he told him, I want to do a brit with you. I want to make a covenant. So we all going to do well together. So Abraham received Be'er, he received the well, and he gave Abimelech 7 sheep. Do you think a king needs sheep from Abraham? It's a form of unity, understanding that I'm giving you the space that you deserve, and Abraham giving Abimelech what he deserved back as an exchange. Meaning, Abraham, after the brit, after the covenant with Elimelech, he became the king of the world. Hashem blessed Abraham to be the king, Av Hamon Goyim, you're the father of the nations. But until the moment of Be'er Sheva, he was not the father of the nations. He became the father of the nations only after the covenant, only when the Goyim took him upon themselves, that he is the father, is the king, he's the father of the nation. If Abraham is the father of the nation, who is Sarah? The mother of the nations, all of the world. When Sarah died, there were 2 issues to deal with. Number 1, to make a eulogy. Who is the eulogy for? The sped? For the whole world. She's the mother of the world. Who is the grave for? For the world of Abraham. The grave. It's personal issue of Abraham. He needs to bury his wife. But the eulogy is for the whole world. So Abraham has priorities. When he's there to take care of Sarah, what does he need to do first? What's important to the world or what's important to himself? To the world. Therefore, Avraham Avinu, the first step, he gives a eulogy to Sarah. This is for the whole world. As a leader, number 1 rule, everybody else are before you. You're taking care of the world, and then you're taking care of your own needs. So Avraham Avinu do a eulogy, and then he's looking for a grave. Now, if Sarah Imenu is the leader of the world, she has a job. A leader, an ultimate leader, can you influence others? Very difficult. As the leader of the world, a leader got to be attractive and comfortable to people to relate to. Therefore, the Torah said that Sarah looks like the beauty of a 7 years old. It's not about to be a model, it's about to relate to people. A 7 years old girl are pure and can relate to others much more. So Sarah Imenu, as the mother of the world, the Torah emphasized she was beautiful so she can reach every person in the world. So we know already Sarah has a job, and Abraham, both father and mother of the world. They got to be the mentors of the world, and there is a responsibility. Sarah got to look good to approach, to relate to the world, same as Abraham is responsible for the world. When Abraham needed a grave, means that the grave is for himself. So Ephron offered, I'm giving you Me'arat HaMachpelah. Metzuyan. Me'arat HaMachpelah, it's a grave. But Ephron said something else to Abraham. Abraham, since you got to go through my field, we are becoming friends. You go through my field. Anybody here went to an Arab home and came out alive? No, just kidding. So, Arab's home, you go over there, the first thing they do for you is making you coffee, נכון? Café Chavot. When I was young, I did it, unfortunately. I don't do it anymore, I like my family. So, they give Café Chavot, they give, black coffee, they make you feel at home. Anytime when you go through somebody, he hosts you. Ephron is telling Avraham, now that you have a grave, it's yours. You're going to go through me. I'm going to be your host. Tfadal, come, let me be your host. Avraham said, Let me buy the field. I prefer to buy the field than being your guest. So I'm going to pay you for the field. Says Ephron, I'm not in the real estate business, says Ephron. I'm in the relationship business. If I'm going to sell you the field, right now the grave is yours, you my guest, so we're already friends. If I'm selling you the field, I'm selling you a relationship. Relationship has a different price. It's not a real estate anymore. Is it a transaction of relationship? How much do you value a relationship? Priceless. Therefore he said, you know what's my relationship with you worth to give it up? 400 shekel.
So he made it difficult.
So much money. I don't want to lose my relationship with you. I don't want you to buy me. I'm making a high number, so you're not going to buy a relationship. But Avraham Avinu did. You know what happened to people when they break up relationships? Unfortunately, you see, when people getting divorced, he get what she's supposed to get. But when she's getting it, she's getting upset. No, you will deposit it in my bank account. I'll give you a check. What do you want? No, you're going to do wire. When you break relationships, people being aggravated. They want more. Avraham broke the relationship with Ephron. Ephron demanded after, no, I don't want this money. Give me the best money. Because you broke your relationship, he was upset. How can you break in your relationship with me? I want you to understand that I'm not happy with what you're doing. Avraham is breaking, he's buying the relationship with Ephron. The next step, after Avraham is buying the field, who is he supposed to pay taxes to? Do grave charge taxes? No. Because they can't pay. It's very difficult for these people to pay, right? So on cemetery there are no taxes. But on a field, do we have taxes? Yes. Avraham Avinu has another issue. He has no relationship with the frog, but you know who else he has relationship with? The residents of Chet. Because he is a resident, he pays taxes. Therefore, Avraham Avinu did an unbelievable. He gathered all of the residents of Chet, and he changed the zoning of the field into a cemetery. A cemetery doesn't pay taxes. Smart Jewish move. A cemetery doesn't pay taxes, then he's not connected to the residents of Chet. The Gemara says, how do we know that Isha niknet bekesef? In order to marry a woman, you got to take the ring, נכון? הרי את מקודשת לי בטבעת זו. That is transaction with money. So the Gemara says we learn it from the transaction of Me'arat HaMachpelah. Just like over there, the Torah says, Kach mimeni. The Torah says in Arabic that Kach is referring to money transaction. Same thing in the Torah, it says, Ki Kach ish isha. If a man will take a woman, the same terminology appears by buying a woman and by buying the field of Ephron. So we're learning that lakachat, how do you take a woman? You do it with money. The commentary Tosfot asked, he said, how can you compare those two together? Because this is buying a woman, and here you're buying a real estate. How can you compare between real estate to woman? In our words, real estate is something that generates money, and women spend. Yeah, you said it. So women usually spend money. So how can you learn to buy a woman from buying real estate? But the answer is very simple. When you're getting married, you're not buying a woman. This is the most expensive item that you could ever have in the world. You cannot buy something that you got to pay for it non-stop. A man buys relationship. He buys exclusivity from his wife to him. When a person getting married, if he thinks he owns his wife, I feel bad for both. You don't own anybody. Nobody owns anybody. We own a relationship. What we were selling in the field, we sold on the field. We didn't sell a field. We sold relationship. The field is a transaction of a relationship. Marrying a woman is a transaction of a relationship. That's why we can learn one from the other. Why it's so crucial? We, as Jews, we are the mentors of the world. As a mentor of the world, we have a responsibility for every non-Jew in the world to make sure it will be okay. It's applied to a technical way. If you see a car stuck on the middle of the highway, obviously don't risk your life, but if you know it's safe, I mean, if you see the guy with rings, it's fine, don't stop. But assuming the situations are okay, you have a responsibility to make sure the non-Jews, the Gentiles, will be okay. We are responsible for Goyim. We are all Goyim. The second thing, all Goyim means we gotta influence the Goyim to do the right thing. We have the responsibility to influence the Goyim to do the right action, to behave properly. I was with my rabbi, my Rosh Yeshiva, and a Goy came up and says, "Rabbi, what are those strings?" I said, this is to remind us that we have to deal with morality, with honesty. We need to respect people. We as Jews have responsibility to be light to the nations. When you have a teacher who's teaching students, often new teachers make the following mistakes. They want to have good relationship with the kids. So they become their friends, and then they try to discipline, and this is where the balagan begins. The only way to be a mentor, you must keep a distance between the mentor to the student. If you have relationship or friends between you and the student, you cannot be a mentor anymore. We, the mentor of the universe, we cannot have friendly relationship with the Goyim. If we will have friendly relationship with the Goyim, we are not going to be mentors anymore. We are respecting them, we're taking care of them, we are their fathers. Avraham Avinu is Avamon Goyim, but we cannot have relationship. I'll give you a classic example. A guy told me, he says, I was out of town, he called me up, he said, I'm staying by my partner and his kitchen is not kosher, so he asked me halakha question. I'm like, where are you sleeping? He said, I'm sleeping by him. So his partner is non-Jewish. So I tell him, it's okay to have a non-Jewish partner for business sake, but you cannot sleep by him, you cannot associate with him, because we have a responsibility. You must stay a mentor. We live around Goyim in the United States. We are not at home. We associate with them, we're talking to them. Sometimes they can be the teacher of our kids, they can be our clinic ladies, and can be a banker or a realtor. But we have to remember, we are mentors, they are not our friends. You cannot invite them over for Shabbat as part of your family. They are not a family. In Germany, they said if the Jew doesn't make the Kiddush, the Goy will make the Havdalah. If you don't make yourself Kadosh, holy, separate, the Goy will make separate from you. Because this is the most important. The Goy doesn't want you to be his friend. He wants you to be a role model. He wants to look up to you. This is example. How many people heard it? You are the chosen nation. God loves you. They want to see you chosen. They don't want to see you one of them. Just like a student. He doesn't want to see the teacher one of them because, it's not good for him. He's going to step over him. We have the highest responsibility in the world. We must remain mentors. We must remain light. If you take a light and you take it on the top, you can put a lot of light. But if you're coming close to the object, can you have light? If you're becoming close to the Goyim, we cannot have light. We have on a day-to-day, we live in the Goyim. All of the parents over here are people who choose to be with Jews. Unfortunately, those are sending their kids to schools with Goyim. You can see the difference. Because by the end of the day, they're becoming friends with the Goyim. A mother told me, a child, she's telling her son, don't bring your non-Jewish friends at home. Said, Mommy, you're racist. It's wrong, but it sounds right. because we are not racist, but Jews are not racist, because anybody can join a race. It's not something inherent, and we have responsibility. Racist means no responsibility, because you inherit it. By us, anybody want to join and take the responsibility can do it. But you cannot put him on a place where it's required relationship as a friend and tell him don't be his friend. You cannot associate with them and expect your kids to understand, okay, we can be the friend, but we not marry them. It doesn't work. Because who do you marry? Your friends. If they are your friend, you can marry them. We need to have very strict, very clear distinction. They are our students. We owe it to the Goyim not to be their friends. As the Goyim don't want you to be their friend. I was once buying a car, and a guy came over to me and said, I'm making deal on airplanes. He was talking with me, being his partner. So I'm like, me, airplanes. I didn't have the money to buy an airplane. What are you talking about? He said, look, I'm from Venezuela. I always used to do business with people with the hat like you. So I want to do the same because I know I'm going to do well. That's all I go in. That's an example. I rented once a parking. A guy from Canada rented me a parking space. 3 parking spaces I needed for cars. And, like everybody told me, I'm charging you $150, I can get $250. So I'm like, okay, go get $250. What are you doing? Because obviously, as a Jew, even though it was cheap, but not a Kavan Kavinu, I was trying to negotiate the price. He said, I can get $250. Why are you offering me $100? I said, okay, go get it. He told me, no, because I'm from Canada. He told me I have a body shop in Canada. And I service all of you guys with the hat. And I know I'm not going to have headaches with you. I thought, okay, so there is a price for it, for $100. They want us to be exclusive. They want us to be a role model. We should understand how special we are. How much the Goyim wants you to make a kiddush. How much they want us to be separate, stay away, no relationship. And we should have the zchut that all of our family will stick with each other. All married with only Jews, connected to the Judaism. Amen. Amen.